Hi, I'm Duncan, and I'm from Our Ladies.
What makes Curve different from all of the other albums that you guys have done?
I think we always try to make something that's really different, really dangerous, you know, really adventurous for us. And sometimes we don't quite get there. Whether it's time constraints or whether it's, you know, having one tiny bit of your ear conscious as to whether radio or press will want to hear it. Sometimes those things creep in. This time, we really did try to make. We started out making a record, and we were about 6 songs in, and we challenged ourselves, and our producer challenged us to maybe rethink what we were doing, because it was sounding sort of like a natural progression from the last one, and so we really threw those away. And to me, this is a record of more, and I know that sounds a little strange, but the songs are more quiet when they need to be, and more brash when they need to be, and more adventurous in terms of chord structure, where you're letting it go where you don't think it's going to go. And I would say Rain lyrically has got that sort of cryptic quality back into it a bit. So I'm really very proud of it.
You did mention that, like, when you were writing more freely, without conditions. You weren't really thinking about what the fans would think about it, what the media would think about it.
No.
So, like, how was that?
That was.
I guess it was easy.
It was scary. It was like standing at the end of a cliff, going, okay, well, if this is the last record that anyone ever hears from Our Lady Peace, do we care if radio hears it or press hears it? And it was no. We never sort of considered the fan involvement in it, because that relationship is special and it's hard to discredit that in any way. And I would never say that. But what I would say is we had to make a record that we knew would probably piss some fans off and really make other fans, you know, very happy. So you can't please everybody all the time. So we knew if we pleased ourselves, there would probably be enough people that we like a wide enough range of music that a lot of people would agree with what we're doing.
When you're writing, do you write more for the live performances, or
no? Well, I mean, we try not to. The thing is once in a while you can think of it, but especially with this record, we literally tried not to write for a purpose, for a venue, for a vehicle. We literally just tried to let the songs be what they wanted to be.
When you guys were writing, you also did a lot of updates on YouTube,
yeah,
on all the social media sites. How come you guys gave the fans a look behind the curtain? Like,
well, I think there's an expectation in this day and age that because I'm a little more old school. I kind of like the whole secretive, cryptic, all of that, but I'm slowly coming out of my shell. And when I looked at it as a fan, what did I used to search out about all the groups that I liked? And it was all the behind-the-scenes stories. It was not the glossy posters or whatever that sort of junk was, but it was always the story behind how the music was made and what the band thought and all of those kind of things. So that was a natural progression for us to just let people into the studio for a bit.
Do you wish that you had like this kind of social media thing when you guys were starting out? Or do you prefer that you guys went in the way that you did?
It's just, you know what, it's just a different time. There are pros and cons to both. If you're a baby band today, you can't get enough money from a company to go on the road for an indefinite amount of time in order for you to grow a real grassroots following. Because when we started out, it was literally like word of mouth, like mouth to mouth to mouth. And we would go play a place and there would be 20 people there. And then you come back a little while later and then there'd be 50. Then there'd be 150. And a band can't really do that for a bulk of time. Oh, it's rare that they can do that in this day and age because there's just not the financial backing. So that timing was good for us. But at the same time, you can get music out so much more easily in this day and age. That's very attractive. So it's hard to compare the two.
Okay. You're a couple of shows into the tour right now. What has the crowd reaction been like for the newer songs?
Awesome. Really, I mean, I'm kind of blown away by it so far, especially because the record hasn't come out yet. So I'm encouraged, to say the least. And we're doing quite a few new songs, and we're pulling from more old songs. So in the past, we've been accused of keeping the set a little bit too static on a night-to-night basis, but we have an extra keyboard player with us. Her name is Robin Hatch. She's fantastic. And we collectively had to go back and learn 40, 45 songs to pull from on a night-to-night basis. So there'll be lots of old and quite a few new as well.
Okay, how come you decided to add the keyboard element into the live show?
You'll hear it on the record. The new record has a lot of textures on it that we felt that although you would be able to get across the new songs with just the four of us, we only have so many arms, and we don't want to play to tracks, and so it was important for us because some of the textures really help the moods of the songs. So we felt that was important.
And this time around, you're playing a lot of smaller venues.
Yeah.
How come you're doing that? Is it more just to get your touring legs back?
It's fun.
It's more fun that way?
It's fun. You know, we did it years ago when we put out Clumsy. We did an underplay club tour, and you know, it allowed us to become intimately acquainted with the new record, and to really sort of test it out in a small setting. And really, that's what we're doing again. It's financial suicide, but it's fun, and it gives, you know, the real Uber fans, the real people who really want to be there. You know, we're trying to put seriously like an arena show in clubs, and it's just a really great thing to share with great fans.
Out of all the songs, because you have a huge catalog, what are some of your favorite songs to play live? And if there's any that you don't play live that you wish you'd be able to sneak in?
Lots. Talk to Rain. No, I don't know. That's too hard. It doesn't feel like there's something special about playing Navi, even though the song's been around forever. I love playing all the new songs so far. There's not one that I don't like playing. Too many songs that I would like to play that we don't, to name.
So on the cover of the album, it's George Chuvalo.
Yes.
How come you guys chose to use him?
Well, we had a... Rain really liked lyrically the image of a boxer, because the analogy of us to a heavyweight or to a middleweight or a fighter who picks himself up or herself up off the canvas, you know, when they're down, was, I don't know, it just seemed analogous to our career and to our lives personally, because you're always going to have the cliche, the peaks and the valleys, but the key is to dust yourself up, off, get up, keep going. And so he found this image of a boxer that was not George Chuvalo, and he proposed it as an album cover. And then we all got to talking, and we got to talking about Canada and Canadian boxers, and then George Chuvalo came up. Of course, how could he not? He's had 74 or 76 fights, and he's never been knocked out. And through social media, both Rain and Jer met some members of his family, one being his son and one being his new wife, Joanne. And, well, not new wife, but his wife, Joanne. And so George invited Jeremy and me up to his place to talk about the pictures, and we ended up having lunch with George and Joanne and trading stories and listening to his great stories, and literally pulled the photo album out and you know, gave us 3 pictures to choose from. And not only is he just a great Canadian and a great boxer, and his image really fit what we were going for metaphorically, he's become a great friend.
And his voice is actually featured in one of the songs.
Yeah, well, we went back at a later date with Rain and for lunch again, and just got him to talk, because his stories were so powerful, and he graciously allowed us to record him just on a little microphone at his kitchen table, and then we put it on the last song of the record, just some of his thoughts.
A few years ago, you guys were at the helm of Somersault Festival.
Yes.
So, are there any plans of doing something similar like that?
We talked about that recently, and if we can get the right people together, then maybe we do the Somersault again. It all depends on whether we can get the right bill together, but it's not a closed chapter by any means.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
It has been.
Yeah.
Okay, and then finally, what does the rest of 2012 hold for you guys?
More of this. Touring, writing, being musical.